Hey everyone, Brandon here. Welcome back to another video. What if the very team that you trusted to grow your brand, that marketing agency that you're pouring your good money into, was actually holding you back? Or what if worse? What if they're the reason that things are going downhill? Hey, it could happen. It's a scary thought, isn't it? Now, statistics show that bad marketing hire can sting a business for over $17,000 on average. And that's even before you count the damage to the team's spirit, the productivity, and your hard-earned reputation. Some folks estimate that in total, direct and indirect, could be somewhere around 30% of an employee's first year salary. And if we're not talking senior roles or critical agency partnerships, that number could be astronomical. It could shoot way, way, way higher. You're investing for results, for real expertise. But what if devastating mistakes often hide behind a fog of confusion, jargon, and a lack of openness? Is that poisoning your campaigns? So here's the issue. You put your budget, your hopes, and a whole lot of trust into your marketing agency. You expect them to be pros and to guide you through the tricky digital world and to bring in real results to help your business grow. But here's the tough part with that. Sometimes that trust is seriously misplaced. Things like poor communication, a shocking lack of transparency, and strategies that are either just plain wrong or badly carried out. And that can quietly sabotage your efforts, all while they're reassuring you on the back end, hey, everything's fine. Well, it turns out a major reason clients ditch their agencies is the dissatisfaction with what's being delivered. It's the overpromising, under-delivering aspect of digital agencies. Now, this isn't about campaigns not hitting the mark, right? It's about your agency potentially becoming a hidden weight, dragging down your success while you've kept in the dark about how bad things really are. You just want everything to work, your dreams. So the big question is, how can you actually tell if your marketing agency is actually holding you back? And there are a few signs, if you know where to look for them, right? These aren't just small slip-ups, and these are serious red flags that point to a deeper systematic problem that can be actively wrecking your marketing and your business. The one biggie, perhaps the biggest, and it's everywhere, your agency should be an open book, right? But so many operate like this little black box with no transparency. You barely hear from them, maybe weeks on end, with only one update here and there, and they're fuzzy. And when you ask direct questions about these metrics or these systems, you get dodged or bombarded with technical mumbo jumbo meant to confuse you with no clarity whatsoever. Communication breakdowns are the top reason clients get fed up with agencies. If an agency isn't keeping you in the loop about how their campaigns are doing, the challenges they're facing, because I promise you, there are more challenges than not. And any overall changes to the strategy, we're talking day by day, week by week, a strategy can change at a moment. They're not just failing you at their customer service, they're making you suspicious. Slow replies to both emails and calls, or even worse, a total radio silence. You haven't heard from them in months. That can make you feel like you don't matter, right? And then critical problems end up festering out of control. Now, transparency isn't just about being honest, it's about being accountable for the actions. Agencies that cover up their mistakes and are vague about what they're delivering, or don't even give a clear, regular update to their partners, they're liabilities to you. You absolutely have a right to know where your money goes, how it's being spent, and what results they're performing to. If they're cagey about giving you detailed cost breakdowns or even service reports, huge warning sign, big one. The second red flag that I come across, right on the heels of that bad communication, lack of transparency, there comes this crummy, non-existent reporting, or this temple-sized hat job worth of metrics. But how can you tell if things are working if you're not getting this clear, concise to what your goals are in each of those reports? Lots of agencies cough up reports when you chase them, when you fight for them, or worse, right before it's time to renew the contract. Oh, hey, here, let me throw 50 pages of a PDF at you of all these great metrics that we've done over the past 3 months. Here, sign another 6-month contract. And when you finally get these reports, they're all crammed into vanity metrics with all pretty colors like, oh, hey, look, 1,000 impressions, 1,000 clicks. but it's not really connecting with what matters to you, your leads, your sales, your actual revenue. That is completely different, but it might not look good for that agency. Reports that are too technical, they slam you with so much jargon that you're like, cost per acquisition, but cost per conversion's different in this aspect. Why? That makes sense. It's setting off all the flags in my brain. And they don't need to give you any context. They don't show you a clear return for your investment, where your dollar's going, where it's supposed to go, how much it actually improved. If the investment is improving to you, the agency's not worth it. A good agency should be able to explain what they're doing in plain English, linking you directly with your work, i.e., for every dollar you spend, this is what you get. This is based on your goals, based on your metrics, based on the parameters that we've set in place. If I can point to each dollar that you spend, then it makes sense. If they can't, or they won't, then that's a big red flag that they have messed up somewhere, whether it's in their overall process, whether it's in a new strategy, or whether or not they were just stringing you along to begin with. You shouldn't need a marketing degree to figure out that the money is either going to work for you or it's not. And one more thing, demand access to your own data. You should not have to fight for your own data. If they are saying, as an agency, if they turn around and tell you as the client, I want to have complete exclusivity to your data, if they say that you don't need to check it but once a month, if they give you vague information around anything involving your data, it's your business, you're in control. You dictate what business assets that you essentially rent to that agency for a price. And that price is the success of your dollars. Now, the third thing that I always run into with this is your business is unique. It's not a cookie cutter system. But in this industry, they might just use you as kind of this, or sorry, not use you, but sell you the idea that it is so templatized that what we are giving you is going to succeed for you. And while in some aspects of a marketing strategy that makes sense, in most of them, it is a big red flag. The agency, in this aspect, the agency is going to trot out the same old generic strategies to everyone using a similar PowerPoint and copy pasting your stuff into it without really digging into your problems, your specific needs, your specific goals, even doing a preliminary audit on your audience type and who your ideal customer even is. They're gonna have this slick presentation that sounds impressive, but if it feels like they're just giving you a same old plain runner around spiel that they give every other client, you should be careful. These recycled ideas and not bothering to customize the campaign specifically to either your goal as a business owner, your audience within that business, or the overall long-term strategy of transparency, longevity, and sustainability in the business, be careful. A good agency, before they even ever get started in their campaigns, are going to ask a ton of questions. They're going to think about suggesting solutions before they even get on a payroll. They need to do their homework first. I'm talking audience understanding. I'm talking about competitor analysis. I'm talking about preliminary keyword research around why it works. If they're going to push a preset package before they even understand your business, that is a sales pitch, not a strategy. This is especially risky because generic marketing just doesn't cut it in today's super competitive world. It doesn't matter what your product or service is. Even if it's a non-unique thing like, hey, I do pipe repair as a plumbing service, there is some portion of a competitive differentiator in it. And every agency should do something to kind of tailor before they ever get into a contract situation to that business specifically. And then packaging it in a way that is educational for that client before the client ever signs the contract. Let's see here. What's another good red flag? So a really interesting one. You're the business owner. You know your customers. You know your price points. Essentially, you should know as a business owner all of the things that make your business this well-oiled machine. And while you hire an agency, you outsource an agency for their marketing aspects, their know-how. it should be a synergy between your expertise and their expertise. If the agency that you've hired consistently brushes you off your insights, ignores your feedback, or doesn't even seem interested about what you know about the market, about what you know about your business, this is a problem. Good agencies are going to value what their clients bring to the table, and they are going to see it as this crucial point in their overall strategy to build essentially an effective funnel. For if it's a lead business, you're going to need to kind of, I'm trying to picture myself as the agency and as the person who's the salesperson going into a client meeting and saying, hey, I need you to tell me everything about you and your business, and that way I can tailor the entire marketing strategy around your personal brand, your personality, because how you are is going to be how you interact with your potential customers and clients. So if you're a plumber, for example, and you tell me all about you and all about what you can do for your organization, or what you can do for the clients, what kind of makes you stand out as a plumber, as a marketing agency can tailor my ad copy, can tailor my creatives, can contextualize you as an entire brand to be able to pitch it to your potential clients. And if I, as a marketing agency, decide, hey, I don't need any of that, I don't want any of that, you're basically saying, I want to make everything in my life 10 times harder as a marketing agency. Or if they're a scam agency, they don't care about you at all. They're trying to do a churn and burn method, and they're taking you for a ride because why not? So I think those are the four kind of major flags that are really what you want to pay attention to when you are trying to hire out an agency for any of your marketing, really, whether it's digital, whether it's physical. There are just as many scam agencies around digital and social media marketing as there are for brochure and billboard advertising. And I have learned in my many years of experience doing billboard advertising that just because it seems easier to scam people on social media doesn't mean that it's not viable and more lucrative to do it from a billboard standpoint. So how do we fix this? How do we essentially prevent yourself from being one of those victims from a scam agency? And there are a few steps. The first step I want you to do as a business owner is I want you to demand radical transparency and consistent communication from your agency. If they are not looking at you and talking to you once a week, I don't want you to talk to them. They suck. But we're talking about 15, 30 minutes a week to update you on all the marketing endeavors. That's not hard. That is transparent, that's consistent, and that will allow you as the business owner to put some sort of input in what's going on week by week, help recreate things that go terribly wrong, and it makes you as a business owner feel like you are actually integrated into the process. And then second thing I want you to do is I want you to ask tough questions around things that you feel are pivotal to make your business work. I'm talking about probing questions around the relationships between you and your audience and how they are perceiving that, because it's essentially a game of telephone. You are literally looking at the agency and you're saying, my customer is the thing. Well, is the agency am going to listen to that and interpret it a certain way. So you want to ask things like, wow, I can't speak today. Can you walk me through the process of creating a strategy that's specifically for my industry and business goals? That right there is going to weed out 90% of the people who sell to sell and not sell to work on your business. And then ask them specifically how they measure success. What are their KPIs? How are they going to do it? Every organization and every business has a certain thing that they want to do for that quarter, whether it's More sales? Well, that can be achieved a million different ways. There's also more clients. That's also achievable in so many different ways. We tailor it all together and create, if we can tailor it to a specific goal. And that is what the KPIs that those agencies are aligning with. Then you can say, okay, I'm good with that. That makes sense. We'll go with that. And then the last thing, there's a whole slew of questions. I'll post it in a PDF below. But let's move on to what are the green flags with this? Oh yeah, I got plenty of time. So let me, step 3 of recognizing the green flags and the sign of a healthy, competitive, makes sense type of agency. Their communication is going to be proactive, clear, and regular. First, hands down, best thing that's going to happen. Second thing is they're going to be transparent with the process, the pricing, their performance overall, those KPIs that I mentioned. And then the last main green flag is going to be the educational process of that agency. So an agency that includes you in the process of each of these things, that turns around and educates you on these things. None of these strategies, none of the ideas, none of it are innovative. They're not. An agency is not the creator of new marketing techniques. They are the adopters and the refiners of that. So anything that they do is replicable from any other agency. Really, truly. There's no real flair to it. There's kind of the idea and skill around the employees themselves in the agency, but none of the ideas or core concepts are any different than what any other agency can do. And so when a agency educates their clients on the process, it's going to further build trust between the client and the agency, because it's a extreme version of transparency. I am telling you what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and if you are uncomfortable with the way I do it, or you don't quite like the way I do it, or you just feel like the fit is no longer there, you can take what I've taught you, what you've learned through this act of transparency and synergy, into that next agency. An agency that doesn't want to lose you and doesn't want to give you the opportunity to shop for a new person, new thing, a new idea, they're going to be the ones that will refuse to educate you. They'll refuse because that creates competition for them. That doesn't allow them to continue making more money off of you. So I digress, and I'm going to conclude this out. Protecting your brand is everything. If any of this has hit home, or if you've had your own nightmare experience with an agency, please share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story could help out someone who might happen to be in the market for shopping for an agency. But also, don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful. Subscribe if you want to see more insights or how to navigate the tricky world of marketing. And make sure that your business truly thrives on what you've learned here today. What red flags have you run into? And what do you think we as an audience should know going into the future of business? And I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye.